I wish to welcome you to the next little talk about meditation. I'm just finishing my meditation now. Generally, I get up about 4 in the morning and I take a few minutes to wake up, and then I begin my meditations, yoga and qigong in the morning. My meditation, I usually go for about 20 minutes at a time. And then I might get up and walk around for a couple minutes and then sit down for another 20 minutes. Continue that. If I'm going to meditate for the whole day, it'll be 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off for hours really. Don't have to do it that way. I'm doing it for specific reasons, but just to give you an idea how much time I spend in the morning. About 20 minutes of meditation in the morning, and maybe a couple times during the day if I get some chances. So today was not a particularly fruitful day. It was fruitful, but it didn't feel like it. It was almost like part of me didn't want to meditate this morning. I know why. I stayed up a little late yesterday, and for that reason kind of threw me off my game. You do have to plan to get enough sleep and that sort of thing. But anyways, I had a few guests yesterday, so we stayed up a little bit later. Not that late really, but just enough. But it is interesting when you begin to meditate and we run into these inner turmoil, that is, where part of us doesn't seem to want to meditate. And that's kind of an important thing, because it illustrates what I was talking about yesterday about energy, and about how we have energy in the present. And then we also have energy that was started in the past but still continuing, and that these things can interfere with our activities in the present. So our past way of thinking interferes with our present way of thinking, because sometimes we make quick decisions or harsh decisions in the past, and they were meant to be temporary, but because we thought that way and never changed the way that we thought, these things continue to work not only against those others on the outside, but that way of thinking begins to work against us as well. And this is what was happening today when parts of me didn't want to meditate. But it's interesting how it works, because it really shows you how powerful lining up your energies can be. For example, we know we have 100% of energy. And what happens is that in the present, if we have Say we have control of half of our energy and half of it's kind of on the run, doing whatever it wants to do. What happens is that we make a decision, we're going to meditate, and that's, we make that decision with all the energy that we have at the present, that 50%. But because so much of our thinking and our consciousness is tied up from the past, worried about all these things that have happened to us and that we haven't resolved yet, say some of it for some reason opposes meditation because its purpose is being affected by meditation. For example, I guess you could say if part of your energy is lazy, in a sense, meditation would get in the way of that laziness. So that part of the way that we think works against the part that wants to meditate. And so what happens is we got 50% going forward, and say that portion that was working against us was 50% of our consciousness working against us, we're actually stuck. We're moving at 0%. And that's why people feel like they're stuck, or they call that being a blockage. But what it is it's energy working against itself. Part of it's going this way, part of it's going this way, it's hitting and it's not allowing for any movement. And that's an uncomfortable position to be in. So what we have to do is we have to look at that part that didn't want to meditate and say, look, there must have been a reason why, and then explore that. And the reason I say that is because one of my teachers, they used to use these to teach me all the time. These are called tiksha. They're just little symbols. They make noise. We use them in meditation class. But what he would say to me, he would say, what is the natural condition of this? I say, well, they make a noise. You click them together and they make a noise. And he said, no. He says that is your natural condition. You need to click things together to make noise. He said the natural condition or the natural state of symbols is to be silent. It takes movement to make a noise. And he says it's the same with the mind. It's the same with consciousness. Its natural position is to be still, silent, at peace. Unless something is ringing that bell and making it off balance, making it have a problem. And so we can look back that when we have these little issues come up, these aren't natural issues. They're not something we're born with. This is somehow we have thought in a way that has created this way of thinking in the past, and we have to go back into that past event and say, in a kind way, in a loving way, because you're dealing with yourself. You're not dealing with the mind, you're dealing with yourself as the mind, in a sense. So you have to look at it, well, how would I want to be approached? If I was wrong and I needed to be corrected and to get on the right path, if I was attacked, I'd fight back. There's many, so we have to use kindness even with ourselves, time, compassion, love, to that aspect of who we are, to say, look, we just want to talk for a second. We want to meditate each day because it has value to us in the present. And yet, you are part of us from the past, and in a way you are slowing us down in the present. And why are we doing that? I know we're doing it because we want to relax, we want to be lazy, because in a way we feel like that's the way we should be, in a way that we should rest more, that we should have more relaxation, and that really it makes sense to have rest. But is it balanced to want so much rest that we will harm ourselves or others? Because that's what we're doing. We're demanding rest by harming ourselves in the present. Is that really something we want to do? And see, once we start talking to ourselves in that way, that part of the mind will start to reason, because it's love, it's us, it's the same as us, but it's tied up into a circumstance in a way. And once we get to reason with that part of us, chances are that it will release. And if it releases, that energy will come back to the present, and we will be able to meditate easily each day. If it doesn't release, this is another thing one of my teachers said, because I said, it's not working, I'm broken. And they said, you're not broken. Let me explain to you how it works. They said that when you meditate, you will find a state of peacefulness, or the perfect state, and you'll know it. And he says, and then you'll lose it. And you'll feel like you've failed, because then you'll try to find peace, which you can't do. You cannot try, you cannot seek peace, right? They're both opposites of each other. So he said what happens is that when we fail, or when we cannot find it, it's not failure, it is lack of experience to hold on to that. And so we lose it. And then we keep meditating, and then one day we'll find it again. And then we'll lose it. And then one day we'll find it again. And then we'll lose it. And he says, but it's not the same person finding it each time. It's a person that's more experienced finding it each time. And one day you will find that state of mind with such experience that you will never lose it again. And that will be your state. It will now be part of how you perceive the world. It's like climbing a ladder. It says, and then from that state you will see something new, and then you will lose it, and then you'll get frustrated, right? But it's not frustration, it's part of the training. It's just training you through experience, multiple stages of experience, until you have enough stages of experience you can hold on to that state. So this continues on all the way up until you finally hit the highest states of understanding. So don't get frustrated when we have a day that seems off, or a day that seems like it's not working, because it is working. That is part of the dance of finding and losing, until finally we find it with such strength we cannot lose it anymore. Each step is a step upward up the ladder of understanding, even though when we lose, it feels like we're moving backwards. So that's just a little talk for today. We'll talk again tomorrow and each day. I'm going to keep trying to do it on a daily basis, but it depends on how busy I get with work. So if not, it might be once every couple days, something like that. But I'll make sure it's very, very regular that we have these little talks, and hopefully everybody's getting something out of it. If anybody has any questions about meditation, send them to me. I'll do the best I can for you. Again, we're all learning together. But I thank you again, and we'll see you again. Thanks.